Welcome to the Evolve Beyond Limits podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Geisel, self-mastery coach and mentor. The mission of Evolve Beyond Limits is simple. Fall in love with your life and change the world in the process. And each episode of this podcast is dedicated to helping you do just that. It's designed to bring you one step closer to an aha moment that could completely transform your life so that you can keep evolving into your fullest potential. The reality is how you show up in the world matters, and I don't want you to waste another second living a life that doesn't light your soul on fire. So let's have some fun. Welcome back to the Evolve Beyond Limits podcast. I am your host, Stacey Geisel, and today we are going to talk all about the Heart Chakra. So our fourth energy center, and this one is, I was going to say it speaks to my heart, but it really does. This one is super important to me. And the reason is because I believe with everything in me that to change the world, we must open the human heart. And that is more difficult than we seem to realize it is. And so we're going to dive into all things heart chakra today so you can have a little bit more of an understanding of what it's about, why it's so important, and how you can start to live more from your heart and less from your head. So when we think about the heart center, we are thinking about and we're considering it's all about unconditional love. It's about compassion. It's about receiving. It's about that sense of peace that everybody is looking for. And it's about relationships. Now, the heart is the center of peace and cosmic love. And when we talk about cosmic love, we're talking about unconditional love. And what that does is it takes the fight of the third chakra and it replaces it by the acceptance in the fourth. And when we think about unconditional love, it is, again, if we were to break this down, very simple, but so difficult. It is loving without condition. And again, most people don't know how to do this. And if we don't love ourselves unconditionally, then we have no way of loving others unconditionally. And that's always a hard thing to hear. But it's true. And unconditional love means that it wouldn't matter what you did or didn't do. Doesn't matter how you look. Doesn't matter what other people think of you. You love yourself no matter what. And only then are you capable of loving others to that extent. And it's when we go into the heart that we understand what real brotherhood and sisterhood is. It is a deeper vibration of compassion. Cosmic love is when we start to have the initiation of the heart. And not everybody's going to get here. There's a lot of people who will end up stuck in the other three chakras, either below or above the heart. And they will never get to this point where they're able to experience this cosmic love. Because the way that we start to unlock this is through our hardships. We acknowledge them. We bring them to the surface. We allow ourselves to be cracked open. We allow ourselves to feel the emotions that come with every single one of those things. And that's how we start to unlock. It's a delicate dance between the sacral, which is our second chakra, and our heart. So last week you heard me talk about how the first and the third are really connected. The second and the fourth are very connected too. Because if our sacral is stagnant, if we have that ice cube in our Sacral chakra, our second energy center, we cannot reach cosmic love. You will never reach the place of feeling ecstasy or intense positive emotions that come from feeling cosmic love. So, the more that you feel and you heal the sacral, the more you can feel in your heart chakra. And if you remember in the sacral, it's messy because it's where we hold our emotions. And so most people stop there. They never get past that point. But if you don't allow yourself to move through what's going on in your sacral chakra, then you don't get the beauty that comes from the heart chakra. Remember that love is not a noun, it is a verb. This is about loving on a deeper level. It's about love in action. It's loving and supporting others. It is one thing to love yourself, and that is done through the self worth of the second chakra. And that's what we were talking about. You have to have that in order to move beyond this. But it is a different ball game to love others at that same intensity and be able to share that gift. Often our sacral love and passion that comes from that is it's more sexual, it's more object oriented type of love. It's stimulated by a person or a situation. Heart love is different. It's not dependent on the outside. It radiates off of people and it brings compassion to whatever comes into its aura. It is a different place to live from. When we live from our heart, we are living from a state of grace and delicacy and gentleness. I read this somewhere and it said that love endures and what is created out of love endures. If something is created out of balance and not from that place, it will not last. So, only when we balance ourselves can we hope to balance the world. Only through self acceptance and compassion for ourselves can we make personal change. So, it starts with us. It starts with going into our own heart. And then we get to look outwards. So, I always say that to heal is to make whole. And so love is really when unity and transformation happens. An unconditional love of the heart is the ultimate healer. Once we get to the heart, it's different. It's because the lower chakras that we've talked about, the three lower chakras that we've talked about, those are really about us. That's about healing us. It's about ourselves. And we have to do that. It's important. If we don't do that first, then we don't have a chance at helping anybody else. But it's a very personal type of healing. The heart is the unifier, not just within our own body and our own soul, which I'll talk about that in a minute, but within the world. So when we get to the heart, we start to develop a compassion and a connection and an understanding for not just for ourselves, but for the people around us, which in turn gives other people this urge to rise and to heal themselves. And when we realize that we are all one, people, plants, animals, rocks, the chair you're sitting on, the car you're driving, we realize that we can't advance in this world as humanity, as a species, while the other things around us are crippling and crumbling and falling ill. So when we get to the heart, it's not as simple. It becomes like so much more than us. because on our journey, we have to take the time to be able to help others. It goes from one to all. And it shifts your entire being and allows you to be a different kind of grace for yourself and for other people. But this requires a non judgmental compassion. When you start to open up your heart, you become a healer. And a healer is simply the catalyst in someone else's journey. So you can accept it or not. But when this heart chakra is open, you are going to radiate love and joy. And then you are going to, in some way or another, heal every single person you come into contact with, whether you realize it or not. This is your purpose. Your purpose is to raise the vibration of the earth in your own unique way, but that must come through the heart chakra. Because to heal the world, we must open the human heart. The element that has to do with the heart chakra is air. Okay. And it's because air pervades everything. You can't get away from it. It doesn't matter how hard you try, it's going to find every corner of your home. It is going to fill every part of you. You can't get away from it. It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. So, the developmental age, I've shared that with you guys. First, before we get there is an addiction that has to do with the heart chakra, and it's smoking, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because has to do with this whole area. When we think about COVID, 2020 was the year of the heart, you guys. What was impacted? Everything in that heart centered space because it sits right in the middle of your chest. 2020 was about forcing you to look at your own heart and your situation and say, what is this is this working for me? It was an opportunity to shift. It was an opportunity to say, you know what? I don't actually love the way that life is going in this way. And so look at all the changes that I get to make. It's pretty powerful. And when we think the heart is the meeting point, so the six-pointed star is the symbol of the heart. And it's a triangle going up and a triangle going down. And the reason is because it's the sacred marriage of the masculine and feminine within us. It is where the three upper chakras and the three lower chakras meet. It is where they unify. It is where we can take that whole essence of as above, so below, and bring it together for ultimate transformation in the heart. Now, again, developmental age, it's between the ages of like 5 and 6 and going all the way to 12. So think about what's going on in that time of our life. We start school. And this is where often it starts. Our heart either starts to expand or it starts to shut down because it has to do with how you interact with the world. How were you treated and received when you were not in maybe the loving environment that you grew up in? Not saying that everybody grew up in an unconditional love type of environment, because I actually think very few people grew up in an unconditional love type of environment. Our parents don't even realize that they have conditions, right? They love you, but only if you act a certain way, only if you act normal, only if you only if you listen, only if, right? There's these only ifs, because again, we only know how to love ourselves in that way. And so we naturally are going to love others that way. But we get stripped out of this environment that we're comfortable in, that maybe we are able to be ourselves. And then we get thrown into this other environment. And it's how well are you treated and received in that environment? Interesting to think about. And I usually say it's about 8 to 10 that we start to lose ourselves. Because all of a sudden we've got all these influences. coming in and telling us that we don't actually know what's best for us and we don't know who we are and we don't need like and we start taking on everybody else's identities rather than staying true to who we are because it's easier that way, right? Life is easier when you just follow the path of least resistance. When you just you can it's easier to alter yourself to be accepted than to be yourself and learn to be accepted. It's different. So, just going to think about that. The heart is blocked by grief. Grief is held in the back of the heart. And if in the Bible, this is what they would call the sacred heart, the back of the heart. We only know ourselves when we can get to the back of our heart. And the things that stay buried back there, those are the things that make us feel broken. We got to go through it. Got to figure out what those stories are. Got to start to pull them to the surface. The animal is the black antelope. And the reason for the black antelope is because its heartbeat is very, very fast and it's very skittish. And that's because what touches the heart is often fleeting. And there's a reason for that. Because if we could sit and watch the sunset all day, we'd probably never get anything done. So there's beauty in that. Let's talk about the blocks and the imbalances and the balances. So if our heart chakra is blocked, we tend to we feel a lot of unworthiness and we have a difficulty receiving love or compliments. This person can also love too much, where they're constantly giving to their kids and their partner. Now, you'll see that this lines up very, very well with the second chakra. And there's a reason, right? Because they're so connected, but there's other things. Again, their love is conditional. It's conditional on looks, on money, on things, on how people see them. It's conditional on the world going the way that they want it to go. They really withhold emotions. They're closed off. People with a lot of respiratory issues, jealousy, they're in constant turmoil. They do hold on to a lot of grief and a lot of pain. They tend to let people walk all over them. And they have a lot of surface level relationships, but not a whole lot of deep ones. Now, a balanced heart chakra is a different vibe. They've got this unwavering optimism. They sit in perpetual gratitude. And if you haven't heard me talk about perpetual gratitude, it's the fact that if we genuinely believe, this is where the unwavering optimism comes from. If we genuinely believe that life is working out for us no matter what, then we should be grateful for every single thing that happens in our life. And that is so the things that work out and the things that seemingly don't work out are equally as valuable because it's working out for you. It might not be your plan, might not be what you would have chosen, but you can have gratitude for it because you know that it's leading you in the right direction. They live with this sense of sacredness and enthusiasm for love and life. You go from being just like your sexuality and your lovemaking and all of that good stuff goes from being a physical act to a spiritual ceremony. It goes beyond physical desire. We start to make love with the mind and the soul and not just the physical. I'm going to do a whole thing on love languages that came up in one of my groups and what they mean and how they can shift. But anyway, we won't get into that today. These people walk around and they've got an open heart. They're loving, they're compassionate, they're peaceful. They feel very connected to others. They've got a sense of self-love. They receive things with ease, and they have a lot of deep relationships. Now, the archetypes of the heart. The first one is when we are out of balance. This is the performer. This is the person that is the actor or actress of their life because they are hiding their truest and deepest feelings. They will act like everything is perfect and fine on the outside. And the outside will look like one thing, but the inside is very different. The inside is very different because it seems too painful, and they're afraid that they will lose control if anyone sees these parts of them come out. So it's easier to stay locked in a lie, to put forth they just want to be seen in a certain light. And so they will do whatever it takes to be looked at through that light, but it's not authentic and it's not real. But what is real is too scary for them. Now, the other side of this, when it's in balance, is the lover. This person is very authentic because putting yourself first, again, it kind of ignites that fire in the third chakra. It starts to burn away painful experiences because you love yourself no matter what. Your internal awesome meter is filled because you can see your worthiness. And they operate from the heart always. They realize that happiness and joy doesn't come from anything outside of you, that's yours and yours alone. So this week, what can we start to do? One, be aware. Just be aware. Two, ask one person for help each day for a week and then receive things graciously. If somebody offers you something, take it. And don't try to give it back. Another really powerful thing that I've watched some women do and some people do is write forgiveness letters to other people, maybe that you might be holding on to some different things to, but to yourself. It's often easier to forgive others than it is to forgive ourselves. So, could you write a letter to yourself, forgiving that person for all the decisions that they've made, or all the things that maybe you would do different, or the things that you're holding on to that just need to be let go of? Try it out. And before we finish up, I'm just going to leave you with a little something that I wrote about heart centered leaders. So before I do that, again, if this one is speaking to you, if you're like, whew, okay, I've got work to do here, all you have to do is reach out. Go to the website, shoot me a text, Instagram, whatever. However, whatever you want to do, let's connect and we can start to work through these things. So, heart-centered leaders. The world needs more of them because it's the heart-centered leader that is going to change the world. A heart-centered leader cannot be tamed. They are unpredictable. They are carefree. They are wild. And they are limitless. They are unpredictable because the heart doesn't follow straight lines. They are carefree because they know worry is unnecessary. And when given the opportunity, The heart will always lead them exactly where it needs to go. They are wild because going against the grain has become a way of life. They are limitless because they know when they go beyond the limits of their minds and move into their heart, there is no ceiling to what is possible. Let's go change the world.